Any visitor to Nevada will quickly find that one of the state's greatest treasures is its people. Today, I found a gem in Jim Boone, an ecologist who knows all of Las Vegas's nature secrets. Nevada's favorite son. Jim, good seeing you.
Well, it's nice to meet you too, John. And what a great place to do it.
Yeah, no kidding. If I described you as an outdoorsman and an environmentalist, would that be accurate?
Yeah, it would be. I spend most of my time these days working on protecting the landscape, and both to keep it open for recreation so that we can continue to go out here, and also to keep it safe for the plants and animals that live here.
And you're very successful at that. Give me some of the places that you've worked on where you've succeeded at that.
Well, we helped get Basin and Range National Monument established. We helped get Gold Butte National Monument established. And I've been very active on the mining claim marker project too, where we're taking down these old historic markers that are trapping and killing birds out here.
Why do you love it so much? You take it to the next level of action. How come?
You know, I've been camping all my life, and these are the kind of places where I feel free and feel like a whole person. This is where I feel at home. In 2002, Jim started birdandhike.com, a passion-driven website that details all the hikes around Las Vegas and gives tips on how to optimize birdwatching and hiking experiences in the area. What are we going to see today? Well, we're going to start here at Pahranagat headquarters, and then we're going to drive out into Desert National Wildlife Refuge. It's a big wild country, and hopefully see some petroglyphs and some of these spectacular sand dunes out there.
I'm excited. I got this feeling like it's going to be a great day. Shall we go take a look?
Let's do it.
You driving?
I am.
Let's go.
All right.
At Pahranagat National Wildlife Refuge, 9.2 miles of hiking trails cross over meadows, marshes, lakes, streams, and desert habitat. 264 bird species have been recorded here, and that's half of all birds documented in the entire state of Nevada. Well, I gotta say, Jim, that I find this to be kind of unusual out here to see this. What do we know about this?
It turns out that we don't know a whole lot. I think it was probably built in about 1870, but just not a whole lot of information about why. The place, the exact site seems to be confusing to people, to historians.
And how would the role of the Southern Paiutes, or the Native Americans in this area, play into this building?
Well, the stones that were used to build it have petroglyphs on them. So the Native people would have been doing something like sitting up on the hill behind us here, maybe watching for deer or something coming down to the water, and just maybe doodling in their spare time, hard to say. But just making petroglyphs on, small rocks. And then people came and gathered up the rocks and built them into this building. Though
it may not offer the comforts that appeal to you and me, this modest home has become a critical environment for local bats. A short hike off of Alamo Road brings us to something pretty special. What is it?
Yeah, well, these are some really old petroglyphs down here we can see on the rock walls behind us.
Now, who would have put these here when?
Well, they're the Southern Paiute people, or perhaps the people that lived here before them, because we can tell these are old because they're all abstract designs. Like on these, we don't see any bighorn sheep or representations of people. That tells us there's some pretty old artwork here.
Impossible to answer, I know, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What do you think it says?
Yeah. Yes, indeed, impossible to answer because we weren't part of that culture. But we can look at some things, and for instance, back here we see a lot of dots on the rocks. And it suggests to me that somebody was counting something. And it's the longest nights of the year, shortest days. Sun is low on the horizon. These dots with that shadow cast across, that could actually be a solstice calendar. We might have to come back on December 21st and see where that shadow lies relative to those dots. I'm struck by how you're able to read the land. It really talks to you like a book, that I don't have that talent. How many hikes have you taken in your life? That's like asking how many is infinity. Very good. People look at me and they say, "You've hiked everywhere, haven't you?" And I say, there's one more ridge, there's one more wash. I haven't been up every one. There's an infinite number of places out here, and you look in every one, you're going to find something exciting. With a PhD in ecology and a lifetime spent in the outdoors, Jim has some of the richest knowledge of Nevada lands. Ask him about flora and fauna, geology, or anything outdoors, and Jim likely has the answer. There's nothing I like more than an interesting landscape.
in Nevada, and this certainly has that. Tell me about these sand dunes here, because you don't see that very often.
Well, certainly not in this part of the world, but these sand dunes are probably 100 to 120 feet high back here. And the sand comes from this big open expanse out here, this big dry lake. Prevailing winds blow it this way. The winds hit up against the mountains, drop their load of sand. Wind keeps going and the sand dunes build here.
How long has the lake been there, the dry lake bed?
Well, it's hard to say how long it's been dry, but we know that about 10,000 years ago when people first came, that it would have been a lake with, reeds and tules and ducks and everything you'd expect to find around a lake.
One thing you notice out here, besides how quiet it is, there's not too many roads out here.
No, there's not. In fact, this is the largest roadless area in the lower 48.
These sand dunes spread over 15,600 square miles within the Desert National Wildlife Refuge's 1.65 million acres of land. You know, you are a man who knows about the outdoors, who certainly knows about Nevada. One of the challenges I have of my job is to explain to people how beautiful it is in a place like this. How do you describe this? Can you help me with that?
Why? That's a big question. It's hard to say. You just have to come here and see it to understand it. But what do I feel? I feel at home. I feel like this is where I belong. This is peace and quiet. This is where my brain slows down. I feel calm and content out here. I gotta say, I know you had to take a day out of your life to spend it with me today, but I have really benefited from this. I hope the audience is as well, too. So, Jim, thank you so much for taking this. You're a good man. I appreciate it. Well, thank you. Thanks for having me, and thanks for your interest in our public lands.
People like Jim spend years of their lives preserving the most precious landscapes and life forms of Nevada. Their endless dedication makes the state the treasure we know it today. Although these sand dunes have been in motion for thousands of years, they've left this land relatively unchanged. And that's in part because of guys like Jim, a true Nevadan who knows all the great hiking spots and cares deeply about this land.